For the longest time in Formula 1, there have been constant rumours of Valtteri Bottas being shown the door at Mercedes. The Finn, who stepped up to replace Nico Rosberg in 2017, is currently in his fifth year with the Brackley-based squad. However, the Finn has never truly had long-term job security at the team. Bottas has never received multi-year contracts, with the closest being a single-year contract plus an option for an extension, leaving the Finn consistently available on the driver market with no long-term guarantee of staying on at the team. And for 2021, it's no different. Throughout much of the 2021 season, George Russell has been linked to Bottas' seat, and in recent weeks, rumours were spreading that the contract was already signed with Mercedes, with the announcement to be due at the British Grand Prix. But George Russell disputed those rumours, claiming that nothing would be announced at Silverstone. And then there's the question, could the rumours surrounding Bottas finally be true in 2021? In this video, I analyse the reasons for signing Russell over Bottas, the sign that a deal may already be signed, and on the flip side of the coin, why Mercedes would want to keep Bottas, and lastly, my opinions on the issue. I'll start off with the reason that many cite when saying that Bottas should be replaced: underperformance. We saw that in 2020 and it's still present in 2021. But first, let's talk about 2020. Following the 2020 Sakir Grand Prix, Bottas admitted to the media that he had been underperforming since the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, which was around 4 races in that time span. And the Sakir Grand Prix was quite rightfully the nadir for his 2020 season. Lewis Hamilton was sidelined due to COVID-19 and it should have been Bottas' chance to shine, but it was not to be. Instead, Bottas was humiliated and outshined by Lewis Hamilton's substitute George Russell. On Friday, Russell topped both sessions but ultimately fell behind on both sessions on Saturday. Come Sunday, Russell then overtook Bottas at turn 1 and steadily pulled away from him. Had it not been for the trouble Mercedes faced in the pits, Russell was well placed to win the race, with Bottas finishing behind him in second. Needless to say, Sakir was a totally unacceptable result. Bottas came to the weekend with so many factors in his favour compared to Russell. Bottas had been with the team since 2017, while Russell had tested sporadically since mid-2017 but never raced for the team. Bottas practically had a year of experience in the W11. Meanwhile, Russell had never sat in the W11 prior to Sakir. And adding on to that, Russell couldn't even fit in the car, not without wearing smaller boots. And on Friday, he emerged from the car battered and bruised from each session. With so many favourable factors, Bottas should have easily trounced Russell. The fact that he failed speaks volumes regarding the severity of the situation. And for 2021, that hasn't improved. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix was a perfect demonstrator of this. Starting P10, Bottas finished the race in P12 in a race that had 4 retirements. In the opening stint, Bottas repeatedly struggled to overtake the McLaren of Lando Norris, costing himself a great deal of time. Then on the lap 36 safety car restart, he lost 4 places before losing another place to Antonio Giovinazzi just 2 laps later. Sakir was a poor performance, but Azerbaijan was totally unacceptable. His qualifying may have been compromised, resulting in the P10 qualification result, but he should have gained places, not losing places, and definitely not being overtaken by lower midfield runners. In a close title fight, this kind of underperformance is simply unacceptable. Teams must maximise their points haul, and this sort of poor performances cannot be afforded. And on to the next point: wet weather struggles. Whenever it comes to discussing the talent of drivers in Formula 1, a frequently forgotten aspect is wet weather driving. After all, it doesn't rain in every race, does it? But the best Formula 1 drivers are all-rounders, fast in qualifying, fast in races, and fast in the wet. Bottas' role at Mercedes isn't to be the lead driver, as we've seen on numerous occasions where he was issued team orders to seek track position. His role is to be the second driver, to be the backup on the rare days where Hamilton struggles, and to ultimately ensure that the team secures both titles. And to be fair, Bottas has performed his job well to a certain extent. He may not be the fastest in qualifying or in races, but he's decently fast in both. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said about the final aspect of wet weather driving. Even before the 2021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix fully laid bare his inadequacies in the wet, Bottas already had a long track record of struggling in the wet. From 2014 to 2016, Bottas and Massa were teammates at Williams. In qualifying, Bottas always crushed Massa, though the pair were closer in the races. During this time period, there were 6 rain-affected races. In 4 of the 6 races, Bottas was beaten by Massa. As for the 2 other races, both drivers failed to finish in the 2015 US Grand Prix, and Massa crashed out of the 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix. In his time with Mercedes, wet weather has continued to be a problem. In the 2017 Chinese Grand Prix, he spun under the safety car, finishing 6th. At the 2019 German Grand Prix, while in 4th on slicks, Bottas touched a damp spot off the racing line, spun off the track and crashed to the barriers, retiring from the race on the spot. Then at the 2020 Turkish Grand Prix, Bottas spun a total of 6 times on track, falling from 9 on the grid to 14 at the flag. In contrast, teammate Lewis Hamilton won the race while starting from 6th on the grid. But all of these incidents pale in comparison against what was to come. At the 2021 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, Bottas started from 8th on the grid before failing to finish the race, following a huge collision with George Russell. Contrary to the common expectation, in such a scenario, Bottas was not lapping Russell. In fact, Russell had been overtaking Bottas. A driver in his third season, driving the second slowest car on the grid, was overtaking a veteran in his ninth season in one of the fastest cars on the grid. A situation that was certainly unacceptable in any way. While wet races typically consist of no more than 2 to 3 races per season, in a 2 or 3-way championship battle, teams cannot afford to have drivers slipping up on any race. The lost points could easily hurt the championship battle of any team. And on to our third point, team renewal. Currently, the team is built around Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is now 36 years old and he can't race forever. At some point, he will decide, it's time to hang up my helmet and seek new challenges outside of Formula 1. At this point, Hamilton is very clearly the team leader at Mercedes. Bottas is just 5 years younger, and it is very clear that he's not being groomed to succeed Hamilton as the team leader at Mercedes, which means that if Hamilton does decide to hang up his helmet at the end of next contract, Mercedes will be left hunting for a new team leader. To prevent a situation where the team risks losing momentum due to the sudden loss of a team leader, a new leader must be ready to step up at any time, which is where the concept of team renewal comes in. Bottas is then replaced by Russell, who is groomed to become the team leader and allowed to build a team of staff around himself, such that he will be ready to lead Mercedes into the post-Hamilton era, limiting any kind of potential consequences that could occur after Hamilton leaves the team. But back to the question, could the rumours surrounding Bottas finally be true in 2021? Personally, I think there's a high likelihood that they are true and that the deal has already been done, and both drivers, or at least Bottas, already knows his 2021 fate. There are several signs pointing to this. Firstly, there was a team model in Spain. Bottas was instructed by Mercedes to let Hamilton by for P2. Bottas defied the order and refused to let Hamilton by, forcing Hamilton to make an actual overtaking maneuver on the fin. Then up next was the Monaco pit stop disaster. In what was clearly a mess up by the Mercedes pit crew, Mercedes boss Toto Wolff surprisingly attributed part of the blame of the incident to Bottas. He claimed that the fin had stopped early, forcing the mechanic to apply the impact wrench at an angle, damaging the wheel nut in the process. Bottas subsequently expressed his surprise at hearing Wolff's remarks to the media and proceeded to shoot back at Wolff's comments, stating that he had actually raised concerns regarding the standards of the pit stops performed by the team, and there was more to come. At the French Grand Prix, Bottas had an outburst over the radio towards the end of the race, publicly criticizing the team's strategy over the radio, where he said the team did not listen to his belief that the race would actually require a two-stop strategy. While there are several reasons to drop Bottas, there are also valid reasons to keep Bottas. With the sweeping technical changes for next year, it is beneficial for teams to ensure that there is stability in their driver lineup. The second reason is team dynamics. By signing Russell, Mercedes will be having 2 alpha drivers in the team, and with 2 alpha drivers means the possibility of an intra-team rivalry, fragmentation, and ultimately lost points. Mercedes had to endure that from 2013 to 2016 with the pairing of Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, and the question is, does it really want to go through a second round of intra-team rivalry between its drivers? With the following points considered, here are my personal thoughts. I think Russell is definitely deserving of a promotion to Mercedes, and the benefits of dropping Bottas for Russell in 2022 are simply too huge to ignore. And I most certainly do think that the rumours are true. I believe it will be interesting to see where Bottas goes from here. Will he remain F1 or will he make the switch to another category, say rallying or sports cars? And that's it for today's video. What do you think about this video and what are your thoughts on the subject? Drop them in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.